Catherine? Okay, we're good. All right. Well, welcome to the St. Clair Community College Board of Trustee meeting for November 21st, 2024. We do welcome each of you to see a good crowd in our audience. So looking at our agenda, it looks like I need an approval of that agenda. So I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
I hear a second.
Sorry.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Lisa, do we have any citizens' comments?
We have no citizens' comments.
All right, thank you. Looks like it's time now. Let's find out some of the new employees. We love this part.
Dr. Murders.
Good evening. Amy has joined us via Zoom since I told her don't drive all the way down here from Clinton campus as our new director of that extended campus. So she's got some big shoes to fill. But just give you a little bit about Amy. She's originally from Indiana. She graduated from Anderson University, which is in Anderson, Indiana, with a bachelor's degree in poli-sci. After graduation, she moved to Washington, D.C., where she graduated for Argosy. I'll probably mess that up. University with a master's of arts in forensic psychology. See, she plays mind games. Amy has enjoyed working and serving others in the community in various fields, including the education field as program director for an after-school program, the criminal justice field as a probation officer, and the social service field as program director and case manager. So that made her all fit perfect for our students, having all those different backgrounds. Amy and her family moved to St. Louis, where they lived and worked on the campus of St. Louis Christian College for 13 years. She worked in various areas, including with grants, admission director, and even the manager of the campus library. So after the St. Louis Christian College closed, she moved, her and her family moved to Clinton, and then she worked for us in academic, worked for us really as a specialist, but helped tutoring, doing all kinds of things and supporting DARE at the time. And then she was also simultaneously working with Central Methodist University as an academic advisor. So she had two name tags on down there at Clinton, but we knocked one of those off. So, so anyway, Amy, I said you could say a few words, otherwise she's going to hold that against me.
I think you did well. That was kind of the summary of my life. Thank you all for hiring me and trusting me, and I look forward to working with you. So thank you.
Thanks, Amy.
Welcome.
She, we started off the morning, we went to Clinton, the technical center. So she and we met with them. So she got to lead that conversation and working things already. So she's getting it done.
Good job.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amy.
I don't think I have the life history of the next two gentlemen, but we have two new maintenance techs that have joined us in the facilities group, which I know we're all thrilled about. First of all is Michael Dale. Michael, why don't you stand up? Michael has a variety of backgrounds, but I think he worked in some fairly large institutions that had people that stayed overnight a few days, didn't you? So he spent most of his life in Colorado, has worked in a variety of areas in maintenance. So we'll give him a couple of 30 seconds, minute on what you do, some of that your major institution experience.
Well, I worked in the penal system in Colorado. I did maintenance there, and I had 63 buildings I covered in the county that we did maintenance on. We did everything from electrical to the water and technical support for the jails, the locks and stuff. We would rebuild those. But I've done a lot of carpentry, remodeling, plumbing. So far, I've enjoyed myself here. It's a great bunch of people to work with.
Welcome, Michael.
And next we have is Caleb Allison. Caleb doesn't have quite the same experience, but has his own random experience there. And here both these guys have been with us for about a month, a little over a month and a half. I know Caleb has some particular skills in welding, but he's also wanting to do a whole lot more than that with that. So Caleb, welcome. Tell a little about yourself.
Yeah, as you said, I went to Missouri Welding Institute in 2020 and graduated from there. I thought I was going to be a welder full time. decided that wasn't the best fit for me. I came home. I grew up pretty local here in Spokane. And found this place, and it's been really great to work here, and you people are really nice to me. And Mike as well has been really nice and showed me a few things here and there. And I just appreciate the offer and glad to be here.
Thrilled to have both of them.
Yeah.
Welcome,
thank
Caleb.
you. All right, that's it. You guys are welcome to stick around. And maybe you're welcome to stick around, but most people get up and leave.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so next on the agenda, is we have the approval of the October 29th, 2024 board meeting, as it was published and sent to us also via email. I would entertain a motion for approval. I'll hear a second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. So we're ready for the warrant for October 2024. Keith?
So during the month of October 2024, the college dispersed $6,139,484. Of that, $1,273,835 was to Centric for the CAT construction, and another $951,198 to PCE for the rest of installed construction. Other than that, see the disbursements as noted there.
All right, I would entertain a motion to approve that warrant.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Sorry.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion passes. Thank you. Hey, our student government report.
All right, Leslie Miller.
Hi, I'm Addison Miller. I'm the student government president. So right now we're working on homecoming. We actually approved our theme yesterday. So the theme is going to be There's No Place Like Homecoming. We're going to come up with some theme days for that. And December 3rd, there's Christmas cookie decorating. And then December 10th, we're doing a focus finish. So we're serving coffee at 8 a.m. in the Yeater lobby. We're just really working on getting students more involved on campus. And then one of our organizations is here to give a presentation on what they do. So Grayson from Active Minds.
You want?
Yes, please.
Where is it? There you go. No?
Well,
There earlier.
hi, I'm Grayson from Active Minds. We're the mental health club on campus.
Where are you from?
We're the
Your hometown.
VHS. Oh, where am I from?
Yeah.
I'm from Versailles, Missouri. Versailles, Missouri. Yep. So what we've done this year is we've been really working on destigmatizing mental health around the college campus. We've had more of an active presence on social media, including Instagram and Facebook, to try to accomplish this, as well as more events held on campus. We are promoting our Green Bandana Project, which means people sit down, they watch a little 4-minute video that we have, and then we give them a green bandana to tie onto their backpack or purse or whatever they carry around. And people all around campus know that they can go to them as a safe person, and they'll have mental health resources. So along with that green bandana, we give them a little card with a QR code that the person who's asking for help can scan, and it pops up all the mental health resources around campus. Since the start of the year, we've gained 36 new members for the Green Bandana Project. And we're also currently setting up the Green Bandana Project new system. It's called Mighty. So that way we can effectively communicate and engage with the new members that we're having. We also applied for a little mini grant at the beginning of the year from the national chapter of Active Minds for Stress Less Week. We got this grant and we're able to put together a successful Stress Less Week. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. So Stress Less Week was put on the week of October 21st through the 25th. We hosted 4 events that week. Here's a little flyer of what we put up around campus and all of that. So Monday and Wednesday, we had Tails come to the dorms, which is therapy dogs. So we had them come to the dorms. We had a great turnout. We had tons of people in the dorms wanting to have them come back. We even had people that don't live in the dorms come so they could see these therapy dogs. I believe I didn't include a picture, but we even had a therapy like mini pony come in. Can you see it? Oh, there it is. So a lot of people like this, and throughout the week, we even brought around one of our teachers, Dina Barkledge, her therapy dog, so people could just interact with her and everything. Tuesday, we actually collaborated with SGA for the watercolor event that they put on, and we gave away some skincare that we got from the mini grants. We had a ton, they combined with SGA and Active Minds, we had a successful turnout for that, and we even had people wanting to do that again. For the last day, we had our digital detox. We were gonna do a campfire, but we were under a no burn ban, so we quickly switched that up to, we had got little cups and we put marshmallow fluff, some chocolate chips and some Scooby snacks in there so people could eat that. We played games, and with our mini grant, we got those games. We got cup pong that we could play on the tables that we had, and we got snacks, and we got 2 Roku TV sticks to give away, which drew a lot of people in. We also had a ton of skincare to give away because Myriad collaborated with the Active Minds chapter to give those to us. So you can see some of the pictures of that on there. And we had a ton of students come to me and our program coordinator, Dina Barkledge, saying that they want to do more events like that. So right now we're in the process of getting those set up. So we have, in my opinion, done a really good job of the outreach on the campus and everything like that. So that's all I have.
Any questions?
How long has that been a chapter on Because
I believe it started last year. BHS is a fairly new program that we started, and it's co-curricular activity. This is only the 2nd year. So we've been able to do a lot more with it this year since there's quite a few more students. We have 10 this year, and I think they only had 4 or 5 last year. So.
Are you the president of that organization?
No, I am the secretary and social media manager.
You did an excellent job presenting.
Thank you guys for having me.
I'm so impressed with our students. Thank you.
We're sure.
Thank you.
They make me proud.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
All right.
Looks like we're ready for institutional report.
Allison, do you want to introduce that or?
Oh, sure. Yeah, she's gonna run it. I'm gonna.
Oh, you're
click
running
through
the
her
notes too?
PowerPoint from her.
Okay, hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
is that Amy?
Okay, I apologize. I'm standing in the parking lot shivering, right at the moment. Not the State Fair parking lot. I'm actually in Lone Jack, but I'll try to make this good and informational for you. So, almost to the day 2 years ago, I was in that same boardroom, trying to persuade you guys to let us have a surgical technology program here at State Fair Community College. So, Allison, if you want to go to the first slide. All right, so we are 2 years in, and as of September 20th, we were awarded our initial accreditation through KHEP. We are one of 10 accredited programs in Missouri, and we are the only accredited distance education program in Missouri. So, as a recap, our minimum expectation statement is to prepare entry-level surgical technologists who are competent in the cognitive, psychomotor, and effective learning domains to enter the profession. So that is from the KHEP standards and guidelines. So here, 2 years later, COVID hit, and there was workforce shortage everywhere. So the surgical technologist statewide shortage, as you can see the numbers from 22 to 24, the vacancy rate and the number of positions has decreased. So that's good news. Positions are starting to get filled. But on the next slide, we have actually moved up in our on the list of top 10 hospital professions with the highest employee vacancy. So we were sitting at number 6 in 22, and now we're sitting at number 4. Our program, last year we had 2 students. We're at 100% retention rate. We had 2 students last year. We have 10 students this year. We still have 10 students that we started with, and our maximum enrollment capacity has been set at 15. And that's based on our clinical availability. And so the next slide shows our two graduates from last year. They walked in May, but they actually graduated in July. And then this is our new group this year. So we have the 10 of the students plus Sarah and I are both in that picture as well. And here is a picture of the map of Missouri, and each star represents all of the different locations that we utilize for clinical. So we are from Carrollton all the way down to Bolivar, and then we're from Kansas City all the way over to Columbia. So we cover quite a distance in Missouri. So 2 years ago, when I was there, I discussed with you guys what, what my vision for the program was based on what Dr. Bates's focus areas were at that time. And good news is we've done well at meeting all of those goals. So for our students, we are providing a relevant curriculum. We're using the 7th edition, which is the latest one that has come out. And then, of course, they're getting what they need through their clinical experiences. And then our employees, we've all been there with everybody. We've had the same crew for almost 2 years now. So that's good news. My quote, I guess, on that is teamwork divides the task and multiplies the success. So it takes all of us. It's not just a one-person deal. We did obtain our accreditation, so that was good. We did increase 400% with the enrollment from year 1 to year 2. So that's good news. And then for perception, we hold our advisory meetings semi-annually to discuss the needs. So moving on to the 2024 current focus areas for Dr. Bates. So my vision for this program in terms of teaching and learning is to deliver instruction tailored to diverse learning styles to support all students. I've had multiple things come up in my own classes that I'm taking, as well as when I was at conference about the diverse learning styles. So I hope to be able to implement that with our teaching and learning by using various methods of instruction. Student goal attainment. We want to make sure to equip our students to excel on the national credentialing exam, aiming for a 100% first attempt pass rate. We did actually give our second practice exam today in class, and they're not far off from that pass rate. So that's good news. And we haven't even covered all the curriculum, but it's looking good. So we hope that we can reach that goal. Growth and retention. Of course, our goal is to reach our maximum capacity by year 3 and keep retention at 100%. As of a couple weeks ago, we have more applicants than we do seats available, so that's a good problem to have. But not everybody, is going to be ready. So there's a few that are in question, but we do expect to have a full capacity next year. Effectual workplace. We are going to collaborate and communicate effectively to support our students in achieving all learning outcomes. And then visionary planning with our communities. So we would like to strengthen partnerships with our clinical affiliates and deliver qualified graduates to address the workforce shortages in the industry. So again, surgical tech is someone who solves problems you never knew existed in ways that you never thought of. So that is the institutional report for surgical technology.
Any questions? Where are the students enrolled from? That's like high school area. Where are you getting?
Right now we have the majority like across 50 highway. So there's one in Lamont, there's like 3 from Sedalia, a couple of them east of Sedalia. We've got one that comes up from Lake Regional, and we've got a couple from Clinton, and then one or two that are in between Clinton and Sedalia. So for the most part, they're all about an hour away, except for the one that comes up from the lake.
Michelle, can you explain your distance learning structure?
We are a hybrid program. So, because all of the general education courses are offered online, between the whole program itself, because it's an Associate of Applied Science degree, we had more courses available online versus in seat. So therefore, we qualified to be we had to apply to be a distance education program, but because we're hybrid, all of our lecture courses are offered online on Zoom. So it is synchronous. They do have to be, present, but we do offer it on Zoom. And actually, a lot of them do take advantage of that.
Any other questions? Michelle, you're outstanding in a parking lot, so great job.
My hand is frozen at the moment, but I'm only shivering just a little bit, but thank you.
Go warm up, get the car heater on.
I'm going back inside the school. I'm actually in Lone Jack right at the moment. My daughter came out of retirement for wrestling and my other son is wrestling. So I'm
Okay.
watching both middle schoolers tonight.
All right, good luck.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Okay, so looks like the next thing on the agenda is policy 6490, artificial intelligence.
Okay, first of all, I apologize, there's no tabs in this agenda. That was my fault and we didn't get to it, so, but you got the agenda, so that was the important thing. So policy, we're proposing policy 6490, and this is a new policy to address artificial intelligence. And Misty Burnett here is led a team that researched and developed this policy. Presented it to the executive leadership team, to the college council, and to other groups. I didn't ask Misty to say anything, but is there anything you want to say about this?
I can answer any questions.
All right, so the policy is designed to encourage use of artificial intelligence in ethical and appropriate ways. And it's not designed to limit or, put a box around it to keep people from using it. So that was the thoughts of the team as they developed that. So the policy is rather brief, and we did attach the regulation behind it, so you can kind of see where we're going with that regulation. Of course, your role is to approve or disapprove the policy, and the president approves the regulation. So part of that regulation talks about, the ethics, and a key part of this is the communication part of it. And they're using a red light, yellow light, green light system as a way to communicate with students the appropriateness of using artificial intelligence tools in those classrooms. So I think that's a key part of the regulation, and we're eager to get this passed, to get that in place, and we do have some faculty using it this fall already. So, Missy, did I leave anything out or any highlights you'd like to add?
What we are finding is that colleges and school districts are coming under litigation because their instructors are copying and pasting student work into AI bots to see, did AI write this? And that's in fact, it's publishing the student's work and not giving them credit for it. So ultimately we're plagiarizing when we do that. That's not okay. So what we needed to do that's why this really became a heavy focus for us, was to put something in place to protect State Fair from that and to provide the training that our employees need to know what they can and can't do, what they should and shouldn't do, and to know the best ways, best practices for using AI, which is also something that we're going to be training on. Looking at what other institutions are doing, that was very strong focus for what we were doing with this. We begged, borrowed, and stole from all kinds of institutions, from Purdue all the way down to Utah to, we had collaborated with people in Columbia and also Columbia, Missouri, and also in California. We brought in lots of different perspectives when we built this policy to see what works, what doesn't, and how can we build the best policy that's flexible enough to address the fact that technology is changing every single day. Every month, there's over 500 new AI patents that are developed. So that was kind of the heart behind all of this.
Realistically, every one of our students are gonna be working in industries where AI is being utilized.
And if we don't address it, if we don't teach them how to use it appropriately, when our students go into industry, they're going to be behind everybody else.
So this policy has been through our institutional governance process, through the college council, like executive leadership team. It's been out for comment to the public. We did make a revision based on some public comment. And we're here to recommend this policy to you today.
All right, I would entertain a motion to approve policy 6490 on artificial intelligence. Is your second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I think the regulation is well done and like the way it's drafted, and I think provides instruction and way to guide students in how to handle AI within the particular courses. So that was well done.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Now, policy 1332 on prohibition against firearms and weapons.
All right, so we have a regular cadence with review of policies and regulations, and we've assigned those reviews of different areas to different members of leadership and others in the institution to review and revise policies and regulations to make sure they're up to date. So I'm responsible for the 1000s, and we revised some of those already, but one that we've been working on is it's an existing policy dealing with the prohibition against firearms and weapons. And the existing policy prohibited firearms, basically prohibited firearms and weapons from anywhere on campus. But the reality of it is that we probably have students, faculty, and staff that do have legal firearms that are in their vehicles, especially this time of year, deer hunting season. Some students probably come from the deer stand straight to work, to school and things like that. I consulted with the college lawyer and found that actually there's some case law to suggest that the state can't prohibit public employees from having firearms in their vehicles. So we're here today proposing this policy, which puts some limits on those firearms, but in vehicles, they are allowed as long as they're not visible and they're in the vehicle locked up. And so again, this policy has been through the college governance process. It's had legal review. In fact, Kate Nash wrote this revision. And we consulted with Deputy Hammonds, our security officer, and he's very supportive of this revision. So we're here today to propose the revised policy 1332.
All right, I would entertain a motion to approve policy 1332 as presented by Dr. Bates.
So
Right here, second.
second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Okay, now it looks like we're ready for the FY 2026 room and board rates. Keith?
So at the request of student services and for all the right reasons, we're bringing to you room and board rates early this year. Primarily because, as they pointed out, we're asking people to, when they're enrolling, sign up for a room and board and not knowing what the price is that they're going to be having when that comes up. In terms of making a decision when they're going to live and waiting sometimes till February or March to take the decision is somewhat problematic. So, we know we have a new residence hall, so we can make that rate. And we know that effectively that our cost of our board goes up with the CPI, so we can use that to judge what that price would be. So in collaboration with Dr. Whitehead and her team, Lisa and Amy, we've got the rates proposed here. They reviewed them. In fact, these are the rates they've asked us to do. These rates meet our covenants for our loan for the residence hall in terms of the revenue we agreed that we'd be producing from that facility to secure the loan. So these meet all those requirements. So you'll see there's more rates for residence hall for rooms than there were in the past. That's because in the new residence hall, we have large bulk of our rooms are pretty much the same. We have some rooms that have some special conditions to them that they may be larger, they may be located somewhere special, or they may be a single room. And they showed here that we have some differential pricing for those rooms. So what we're proposing here is that in the existing residence hall, rooms there are $1,800. That's $50, a $50 increase from last year, so fairly minimal. And that's then if you want a single room, it's double that. There's no way they're either double or single. So that's what we've always done in the past. The rest of the rates are the new residence hall. So the bulk of the residence hall, the units, 160 of the 196 rooms are being priced at $3,150 a semester. It's actually a little less than what we had anticipated, $3,200. That's because then they have some differential rates that make up for that. They have some accessible rooms. There's 8 beds of accessible beds at the $3,400 a semester. And then there's others, they have units A, B, and C, and try to put a section of what they look like, but I realized that didn't turn out well. But anyway, those are priced differentially at $3,500, $3,400, or if you want a single room, which is smaller, than $3,700. You see those have anywhere from 12 to 4 beds each. Do you have any, would you like any comments on any of this?
We wanted to try to differentiate the room prices because it will be a pretty good jump from moving students from the 3-bedroom apartments across the street, currently paying $2,600, to everything being a 32 flats. And then once we walked through the building, like, oh no, this is not an equal room to the one at the end of the hall. So we wanted to provide students, we have a number of students who ask for private rooms, and that's not always been an option. So Amy and Lisa worked hard to put numbers together that made sense. And to minimize the financial impact on those students that we will be bringing back from across the street. Give them a little something that they can plan on.
There are drawings in the packet just past the firearms regulation that you can see those rooms.
And there are some students in the class partners that they're in a 2-bedroom apartment, actually they do pay $3,000. So that was fun. And then the dining meal plans, I think we went up.
That was minimal,
about
yeah.
$50 a semester for those.
We were just right at whatever the recommendation was, 3 or 4%.
Yeah, so those are a 19 meal plan, $50 a semester, and 2 meal plan for $1,850. That's what we're proposed. Student Services has actually going with what they put this in. I concur with what they've done here. It meets all our financial obligations.
All right, I would entertain a motion to approve the room and board rates.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Good job. I have Jeff being just by him.
Yeah. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion passes. All right, Keith, board approval for bids in October 2024.
So we're gonna talk a little bit about some of the items on here, but once again, we'll be recommending that the board chooses to select the following bids. the version shown in the table. Awarded bids were based on all criteria and specifications in each bid. So had to meet the criteria in the bid and specification of each bid. The awarded bid is the lowest and most responsible bidder, meeting the required specifications. Any item in the table below may be removed and taken up as a separate purchase if so requested by a member of the board. Otherwise, all these we voted on with one motion. Once that is done, it's recommended that for each of these approved bids and as required, Vice President of Finance Administration authorize and direct to sign any and all agreements for those actions necessary to carry out any of the agreements so signed. Funding is shown in the table. I'm going to talk about a couple of these. I'm going to let Dean Leonard talk about a couple of them as well, so I have some background here. First three on here are for the keyless access control again, it's primarily centered around the new residence hall. So if you go three down, you'll see there's $170,000 roughly, 106,713 to make the new residence hall keyless access using an app on your phone, enter your door, that type of thing. So the new residence hall will not have physical keys. Makes it a whole lot easier for everybody. We're not going to have to figure out lost keys, door jams, but that's what we thought what we want to do. So that's that. We've added a couple of things onto that as part of this bid. One up is the old residence hall. We're not gonna go put keyless on every, or in that residence hall, that got to be somewhat prohibitive since it wasn't built for that, but we can put the exterior doors keyless. So that entering the exterior doors, same with the app. That's only 9,700. And then same thing with the CAT. The CAT was built to have keyless access to exterior doors. It was built to accommodate that. So we're going to add that as well to the CAT building as well as to their IT closets. So that's what those first three are, done through TouchNet. TouchNet is our provider of our integrated campus system. We're using everything electronic. So it works well, works with Banner. We know where everybody is. We know what's going on. It's an integrated system. So that's why we've got that there. I'm going to go then now to the last one. I'm going to bring up Dean Leonard. I know you think every time I come here, we're having Gator chiller plant requests because we have on that. We do believe, after speaking to everybody I can speak to, that this is the last. Last month, you approved the actual software to switch over our current very, very old Andover control system to Train, and Train being the control system we have throughout campus. So we did the software to do that. What this is for is the physical, or the actuators, valves, controls that are throughout the building that those controls talk to. So as you go in each room has an actuator that opens or closes the air to that particular room that the control system is monitoring, turning off. So these is actually replacing the physical structure that with Train valves that they talk to the control system. That makes sense. So this is the hardware and that was the software. And that's the 54,737 bid for that. To get that system finally complete, up and running, and giving us appropriate climate control over a 2-year project. So before do you want to talk about it, we can, but you want to talk about that at all?
You used the word finally.
I think finally.
Thanks, finally.
Therefore,
I have a question about the data center.
Yes.
On the CAT building and on the old residence hall, multiple people will be able to access buildings with those. Does that system allow to individually identify who is opening the doors?
Mr. Hagley.
And we can limit who opens the doors. You can stand at the front door and scan all day long and be frustrated not be able to get in the residence.
And by time.
Yeah, and by time.
Okay, I thought that was probably right, but I wanted to,
Good question.
make sure that that was included in the system.
most importantly, it allows us to lock down
We
remotely
can turn off someone's access.
the whole building if there's a safety issue or something.
The next on this table are 3 automotive list this automotive building, we'll see Leonard talked about those bids and the selections we made for those bids. So you understand that. Yep.
Alrighty. My favorite subject. No AI involved. You might have done that, but I would have helped us. So this is round two, trying to get the automotive list. If we recall back, I think it was May-ish, June time. We ended up rejecting all those due to some discrepancies contained within the specs and those that did on this. So we put those back out, all the standards that are contained in each of the bids, the specifications. We provided in your packets a list of the spec and then some rationale behind the spec. They're either related to quality, safety, or clearance kind of issues within the bay and or driving onto the list. We had a total of 3 different bids go out, one for a 4-post, an alignment lift, and then 8 2-post. Out of the 3, with the alignment lift, we only had 2 bids, and that we did select the lowest, so there's no possible conflict there. The other 2 both had 4 bids each. 2 of those companies are Missouri companies, and the other 2 are out of state, one in Florida and one in New York. Out of the last one, for the 4-post, we had 2 of the bids were in fact meeting the specifications as put out in the bids, and we had 2 companies that did not meet the spec on multiple either very specific lengths or heights or things like that. So we rejected those outright. There was also other things that were not in the bid specifically as a requirement, but on the front page that talked about Missouri vendors and or American made products, things like that. And one of those companies didn't meet those. Additionally, they did not provide a lot of the data that we requested in terms of freight, warranties, and such. So out of that, we did select a higher priced bid, but the one company met all the specs. On the 2-post, very similar. 2 companies were clearly not meeting very specific specifications in terms of heights and widths, and those were eliminated immediately. And then the 3rd came down to just the pricing. Any questions on that? I can go into very specific details if you'd like, but it is all contained in the package as well.
So which ones were from Missouri and which ones were from? New York?
Town and Country is out of Pilot Grove. Meyer Brothers, I'm not sure, they're close. They might be Kansas City. Myers is actually the contractor for the install, and they were not the ones selected. They were actually the previous selected before we canceled that. So Town and Country was the winner of all 3, based on meeting all the specifications through the bids and the exact same products. So we just had a better price.
So that's not a satellite product will place the guy in the basement. That's actually where they're at. Just one, that's what.
Yep.
That's you, isn't it?
I got new equipment like this. It's lucrative. Any other questions? Again, at the end of the day, safety, quality, and then fitting in the bay and providing the right kind of lift for the students as well. A lot of these are larger, wider ramps, safety kind of concerns. So that's why they apply. Good, thank you.
You want to also mention your advisory board inputs.
Oh, yeah, in terms of the advisory board, we can talk about that real quick as well. While not a spec, these are the selected lift brands on the industry standard within our region, and we're recommending in terms of the advisory board input as well. So this is what they used out Ford or Chevy's, same products.
Thank you. So with that, you can approve these in one motion, or you can choose to take them out. So I've asked, so I'm asking you to accept the bids as proposed here, rationale given.
Okay. So, do we have any other questions?
Yes, I would like to ask a couple questions back with the one card VIP. When we made the plans and the scope for the cat building, did we not include that into the construction cost to do that at that time?
We included getting the door spec to have it put in, but we not include that in the original bid. We had it stubbed in so it could all be put in, but not the actual physical system itself.
Okay. And then on the old residential house, we cited safety, the ability to lock down doors. Any specific reason besides cost that we didn't want to do each individual door at that time? At this time?
At this time, it was cost.
Okay. And there's no cost savings due now versus later. It's the same price whether we decide in 3 years to do it.
If you did it in 3 years, it might be, could be,
Well, I mean, besides
could be
material.
high or less, depending on how the technology goes. Or depending on what we decide to do with the residence hall in general.
Mhm.
And in that regard too, is what, I think we haven't had that discussion either, but yes, it's very likely to be a different price in 3 years. I'm not gonna say if it's more or less in 3 years.
The old residence hall, when it was built in the late 1990s and early 2000s, had a wireless entry system, a one card system that we used up until recently, but that system no longer works. So we had to replace the system, and that it just makes sense for us to use that same system. All the residence halls in Capital and really the system.
But only exterior on the old one.
It was originally only exterior, so it wasn't built with the to allow it on each run. So we would have to add in the wiring or wireless system or something.
The rest of it was more expensive.
Okay. And then this is more probably a dumb question than anything. What's the potential for locking a student out due to lost power, failing? Is there any concerns there? There's no key. I mean, somebody mentioned there's no key to be able to get into it. What if the system fails? Does the student locked out of the room for how long? I'm just thinking.
No, there's a battery backup,
Okay.
built into the control system for
Okay.
that, so.
No concern there.
Right.
Glad you're here. I was gonna say an act.
I guess if the phone died.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's on him. I'm just thinking from our aspects. Okay.
Good question. All right, pleasure of the board to do, to pull any one particular one out. No, all right, so it looks like then that we're going to approve all of them at once, so I would entertain a motion to make that approval for, as presented.
I'll second.
Okay,
Welcome.
yeah, welcome. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion passes. Okay, residence hall data cabling credit.
So in August, we approved the change order to, do the cabling for the new residence hall, i.e. the wiring to bring, internet to all of each room. I think it was 2 lines to each room, be done internally by was contracted by our own IT department. That had originally been spec'd in, had been 1 line from the people doing that residence hall. Therefore, we get a credit from them, take that away from them and us doing it ourselves. It's about half the price of what the new one's costing, which is about right when we're putting in a couple of lines instead of 1. So this is the credit, that change order credit for that. So it's recommended the board of trustees approve the change order 06 for the residence hall construction for credit in the amount of $53,010 for professional contractors for the elimination of data cabling from the PCE scope of work. This work has been contracted directly by SFCC as approved by the board in August of 2024 meeting. The credit will go back to the residence hall construction funds.
All right, I entertain a motion.
So moved.
Go here second.
Second.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion passes. Thank you, Keith. Dr. Bates?
I'm gonna keep my report brief. Somewhere in this packet, there's a calendar and a couple of things to highlight on the calendar. December 5th is our Jingle on the Green, the campus-wide celebration, get to our community 6 p.m. So prayers for no wind on that day so we can light the luminaries, and Mary and her team have that all planned to roll. Winter commencement is on the 13th. Note that it's in the MPC, and it starts at 6. And you should be there no later than 5:30. The next day is the AEL graduation. We have asked you all to RSVP whether or not you would attend. I think we've only heard from one, so we've heard now from a few others, but make sure before you leave, you confirm with Lisa whether or not you're going to attend. In the mail, you are going to receive an invitation to the Dom Museum Holiday Mingle. It is Monday, December 16th from 6 to 8 p.m. And so that does also require an RSVP to the Dom. And also, I want to remind you of your invitation to the 23rd annual Thanksgiving dinner that the classified and professional staff put on for our campus-bound students on Wednesday before Thanksgiving. It's at 11 a.m. at Parker's First Commons. You're invited to bring your spouse, children, friend, guests, but we would like to have an RSVP on that as well, just so we have enough mashed potatoes for you. So let Lisa know if you can attend that event. Then we did get a special delivery card I'd like to read to you. It says, thank you, Roadrunner family, for the beautiful and cheerful flowers I received following my knee surgery. Your prayers and thoughts are deeply appreciated. God bless each of you, Patty Wood. So, and it's good to see Patty back and walked right in here. So evidently that surgery went well. That's it.
That's all?
Yep.
Oh, gosh, that's short. All right, Keith, looks like financial report.
So, let's say what you'd say that you told Jessica I always say, that things looking pretty good.
Yeah.
No, so,
We did an excellent job last.
so,
Yeah.
as opposed to. Anyway, for the 5 month, or 4 months in October 31, 2024. I would say we're probably a little bit ahead of target, ahead of budget for our revenues, particularly tuition and fees. And you see, it's about $1 million more than last year. I'm very happy with that. Our expenses are moderated somewhat. You see, our net general revenues or expenditures is more than this time last year. Again, about 34% versus 33%, so it's staying right where I expect it to be. Nothing in particular I see that's outstanding there. I know you may not look at it, but if there's ever a chart you want to look at graphically, it's F3. You know, in one of the sections that I went to at the ACT conference, it's always nice if you show graphs. So that's probably the best one. It shows kind of what our 4-year trend of revenues, expenses, and net is. And you know, you can look at it and probably get a better graphical representation of the very periods going on. It continues to go in a good direction. So I would say that we're keeping good stewardship amongst the college in general of our expenses and our revenue. So I'll go to the November board reporting purchases. There's one in here I want to discuss with you. Children's audio. Let me tell you what these are. What I show you in here are the things that, not like everything that we pay as net ranges. If we put our budget, we're going to pay our rent and spending every month this amount. You know that these are items that typically would require a bid of some form They're not, you know, they're just, so, and so I show these to you versus just, we're already just paying Clinton for their rent, we're not gonna show that, we're paying a piece of software that we already had in the budget and contract. You know, these are the kind of things that require us to go out and get somewhat of a cost on. First one from Schiller's Audio actually is, I don't think it was actually put in Thompson, but it's one of the various hallway displays we're putting up for our digital signage. And those, we go to Schiller's for that, and that was 17,000. We, you know, certain things like repairs, who did, you know, we had a fairly large sewer break and contracted with CIS to fix that, versus XYZ company 13.3. And the last one is one that kind of need more informational. It is one I have paid. Why? Because I don't want to get the IRS sending me penalties and late notices. But we got a notice, last month from the United States Treasury Service that in fiscal year 2022, which was an item we sent out in January of 2023 for our 1099s. 1099s and or anybody we do more than $600 worth of business with, we send them to the IRS what we gave them. And I looked at it, and we have items that are both get a federal employee identification number and people and social security numbers of individuals. What I'm about to tell you impacted only those with social security numbers, not the FDINs. When we do that, we run a process in Banner that has been running since Banner was put in place. The same process and the same person has run that for the last 20 years. So it's a file that's just a string of numbers that's interpreted, and so we send it off. Well, so that was sent in January of 23, like we do every year. In October of 2024, so a year now, so we got a notice from IRS that said the file you sent us during 2023 did not include the social security numbers of the people. So we went back and said, how did that? So we went back and looked, and what somehow or another, Banner had picked up, instead of getting, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, as your number, it got the XXX, XXS, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so instead of them saying, hey, your file isn't right, we got to notice that you're being fined for 180 people, $257 per person from the IRS for having to correct that on your behalf. And if you don't pay it, we'll start imposing penalties. Which I didn't want to do. So that's what the 53,360 is. I made a decision to pay now, and if we want to do something later, we can, but not to get into all the getting other potential fines or anything about it. So that is what that is for. We looked and we said, oh no, so let's look at FY 24, right? Next year, we sent in January 2024. Perfect, not an issue. Something happened that 1 year that no one can explain why I picked that up. I mean, it's the same process, same person that we've done each year. Didn't happen the next year, didn't happen the year before. So I tell it to you because it's an expense that, didn't expect, but against contingency. I don't want to down in the future, so we'll open it up every year and look at it.
That we do plan, though we did pay it, we do plan to appeal through processes that fine, because it doesn't seem fair to us that it wasn't, we were not trying to avoid the law. We thought we were meeting the requirements, and it was a technological glitch. And if they would have called us and said, hey, we didn't get those social security numbers, we would have sent it immediately. So we're gonna see if we can reason with the IRS.
That's what that is.
Glad you paid it. Gotta do it.
So anyway, we want to just FYI, it's why we build contingencies. That's my report.
Thank you, Katie. Okay, next on the agenda is board discussion. There's a few items that we have listed to remind us, things to say. I know MCPA convention was a couple of weeks ago. I was not able to attend, but with somebody that did go, or any at all, like to share highlights.
I was very encouraged. My first time I made a few notes, and the bulk of what I probably took away from it was about the AI subject and just how
academically, it's a tool, not anything to be scared of, and something we certainly need to embrace, because the workforce, the employers are going to expect it. And if we restrict our students, then they'll be at a disadvantage to those who know how to utilize it properly. So but the key is to be able to equip them and teach them how to use it properly. My on the breakout sessions, I was looking at planning and process. Sort of what I do and how I approach things. So it is good to see how other folks do it about their planning process and some of the tools that they use in planning and setting goals and what was being done. Also, trustees meet and have sort of a business meeting. One of the things normally done and was done this year was what's going on in your campus. I mentioned a 13% enrollment increase and got quite a few stares. When I announced that number, said that was our missions and student people really put a lot of effort into student enrollment, and so that was something is how do you do it? And they said, well, we have good people putting their best effort at it.
Something I heard more than once is compliments on the leadership, and just how many really good things we have going.
No, glad you all were able to take that opportunity for that professional development and being together with others. Then it looks like state and federal advocacy. Dr. Bates, do you want to kind of?
Well, so, on December 11th, we have tentatively planned a legislative advocacy event. Jill Lynn has reached out to our, regional legislators and asked for when good dates would be, and based on that feedback, at least some of our legislators are available on December 11th. So that's why we set that date. Brad and his team are putting the final touches on our advocacy document. And one of the last things that we need to include in that are our priorities in advocacy, both state and federal advocacy. So in terms of the state advocacy, the MCCA legislative agenda, the MCCA is calling for or asking for a 5% increase in the core for community colleges, a $50 million increase in maintenance and repair one-time money to community colleges to be split among the community colleges based on a formula. Community colleges have very little state money in maintenance and repair. It's a larger budget per line item for universities. And maintenance and repair is so critical for us, and getting that maintenance and repair funded is so hard. If there's a chance for a one-time investment in maintenance and repair, that's what we're making a shot at. Then number 3 would be full funding of A+, fast track, and other scholarship programs. And the last item is support for a transfer bill. As you might recall, a transfer bill was proposed last year. That bill received unanimous support in both House and Senate committees and advanced to the House, received unanimous support there, got stalled before like a number of other different legislation proposals got stalled last year. The sponsor from last year, I think, is planning to sponsor a bill again this year. It would be very similar, but this bill would guarantee transfer from community college to university or from university to university of 60 credit hours required in the 5 most popular transfer pathways in the state of Missouri. And those are business, elementary education, nursing, psychology, and biology. So again, we anticipate that bill to be refiled, and we'll be supporting that bill. So I would recommend that the board support the MCCA state legislative agenda. Is there any discussion or question on that?
Did they provide some kind of a handout at NCCA, or is this something that?
They have not provided any kind of handout. They will develop one, but usually they don't get that developed before ours is. So Brad has a place in our advocacy document that I think he maybe already has that ready to go.
I think we can be on board with these priorities if presidents brought forth with rationale for each of the proposals, and like on the transfer bill, it really wasn't the folks that we're talking to who stalled it. It came from other places. So
it's a bill that's good for students. So yeah, in terms of the federal priorities, Richard and I at NCCA sit in on this teleconference with the key legislative person with American Association of Community Colleges. And he provided kind of a state of the legislature with that. Additionally, last meeting, we distributed the ACCT priorities. So I've kind of summarized in a handout that I have in front of you, the key topics that are appearing or have appeared in the past with the federal government. We like to include this in our advocacy document as well. So there are some federal budget authorities, priorities. There's with the new president coming into office next year, there's talk about significant budget cuttings, especially and including in education. So we don't know how that goes, but there are some programs that are important to State Fair Community College and other community colleges that I'm suggesting that we advocate for. One is the federal Pell Grant, that financial aid program. A large percentage of our students get the Pell Grant, and that's something we want to continue to advocate for. The Carl Perkins, it's a Carl Perkins Vocational Training Act. I can't remember the exact title of it, but that program provides federal monies that fund technical training programs. And those monies are passed through the state and distributed to both community colleges and the technical schools throughout the state. Those funds are very important to us. If you look at any of our technical labs, most of that equipment is paid for using those Perkins dollars, those federal dollars. Those are match funds in high demand occupations, which most of our programming is in high demand occupations. It's 75-25, 75 covered by the federal government, 25 covered by us. So it really allows us to afford equipment in those high demand, training programs that our community wants us to do. In addition, there are other Perkins funds that provide us opportunities for recruitment, for attracting non-traditional students into traditional occupations like males into nursing and females into automotive and to support students in the technical training program. So it's an important program for us. The Strengthening Community College Training Grant, we've never received that. It's a new grant. We've never received it. Other colleges of, there's a limited number, 20 or 30 that are given out each year, but someday we may want to apply for that grant. The Title III Strengthening Institutions Program, that is a grant that we have received in the past. And in fact, we're putting together a proposal to submit this next round. So it's a program that gives $500,000 or so to an institution to do a big project that you couldn't afford to do otherwise. Then we have the TRIO programs, our Upward Bound and our Students Achieving Success. Our adult literacy program receives federal pass-through dollars, and our Small Business Development Center is funded through the federal government pass-through dollars as well. The Small Business Administration in the state is advocating for an increase in that program from $175 million to $200 million. That's the whole United States program, so Missouri would only get a small portion of that, but those funds are applied would help with reducing the amount of local match required for that kind of programming. So those are all kind of budget kind of things that are in some way or another are being talked about being reduced or eliminated in the budget talks. Other things, new programs you've heard about before, expand the Pell Grant eligibility to shorter term programs. So those certificate programs, the idea, we're training people to get in, get trained, get a job. Some of those programs are too short in length to be qualifying for federal financial aid, like our truck driver training program. We do that non-credit because it really doesn't meet the requirements for federal financial aid because of its length. Those programs could really help students afford those short-term training programs and skill up or reskill and get a job. Pell Grant tax, there is a requirement that says that if you receive a Pell Grant and that Pell Grant is more than your tuition and fees and housing, you have to pay taxes on that balance. In effect, that only applies to community college students, because at universities, the Pell Grant only covers typically, I mean, it takes a whole Pell Grant for tuition and fees. So it's really a tax on community college students. And, community colleges feel that's not fair. And then finally, the Farm Bill has yet to be approved, and there's still different initiatives to get job training funds, agriculture training funds in that Farm Bill, including the Community College Advancement Act. So those are the things that have typically been things that we've advocated for. There may be others, but I wanted to put that out there as a start of that discussion, but we kind of need to have a consensus around the things we want.
They're all good. But realistically, when we advocate, if we can do 2 or 3 priorities, and that's the amount of time we have, and to try to influence, we need to pick probably no more than 3 to say this is, while we are in favor of the whole, but these are the three we want to push.
And which tree would you pick? Perkins?
If we are going to do a strengthening institution proposal, we ought to do that.
I would agree.
Yeah. And the, expanding the Pell Grant eligibility to shorter term programs by giving examples of the programs that we offer that are currently not eligible. I don't know that folks, I really doubt that folks have been dug deep enough to know that the CDL training isn't covered. That you can't receive financial assistance to enter that high demand field. Some of the certificate programs for advanced certifications that allow people to move up in their position to earn more money. Those certification programs probably need to specify what those are and what the effect is, but that would be it. The Pell Grant tax makes a lot of good sense. But realistically, Congressman Smith is the chair of the Ways and Means Committee that would be handling that. And if we would express to him, you need to talk to him about that. I think that's one where if Representative Smith would say, yeah, let's do it. Everybody else will fall in line behind that, but he's the key person there. And it would be not so much talking to representatives to the rest of our delegation. That's the key. That's a one person type of issue.
So on the short-term Pell, isn't summer nursing? Can they get Pell in the summer? Don't they have a summer nursing thing?
Well, it's a summer nursing thing because you have to have over so many credits in summer to be eligible for Pell. And our transition students, if they're coming in to start program, it's only a 2 credit hour class.
Right,
So a lot of them have to pay out of pocket.
Yeah, that would be another one to add to the list that I just think kind of doesn't make sense. You have kids who could finish that quickly, but if they don't, then it slows them down. So Richard, why not Farm Bill? Is it because you don't think it'll make the move this year and save it till next year?
I think that just the number of things, how many things can we say?
I'm not disagreeing, I'm saying replace one with Farm Bill.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That was just my
Right.
just my opinion.
And Farm Bill may not go this year. I mean, and if it doesn't, it'd be a waste to put it in your top 3 if it's not gonna go anywhere anyway. So,
Something's gonna happen with the Farm Bill because it's expiring, so they're gonna extend parts of it.
right, but if
They
they're not
may
gonna like really do something.
They may not do a new one,
Yeah,
but I think we're making some good momentum on the Farm Bill, shorter term training program.
And it may be on the Farm Bill, it's just those probably wouldn't have to spend a lot of time
well,
Time.
Alford's on that.
Time on it, it'd be more of it's in there. And I think it's a relatively easy stuff.
Okay,
And it's only $10 million.
right,
It's a new thing as opposed to Carl Perkins is a kind of stay in the budget kind of thing. So
Right.
I don't know, I might suggest
Yeah.
the Farm Bill as well as.
well, I think we have a unique talking point, right? Because
Yeah.
we have our farm, so we can really we have some unique perspective that I think, like, we're ready for this. Our kids are ready for this.
I don't have a problem with moving it up. That was the other one that sort of.
Yeah.
We
Okay,
can
and-
work some talking
Yeah,
points on these
so we
other
don't have to, like,
things in.
Yeah,
do that
see,
right
so
now, but I just wanna
deal
say,
with the
I
Pell,
like that
so,
one.
you know,
Yeah.
so for me, I'm like, okay, put Pell and the budget opportunities, which there are several, and then the farm bill, those are kind of the way I do with the three. But there's a lot of things that go with the Pell grant, that would be bullet points.
Mhm.
You never know where you're gonna get to be able to have that opportunity whenever you speak to them, to say something comes up in conversation, you want to have those notes in front of you.
Actually, the ACCT recommendation probably is to reach a level that's not realistic in the next session. It's, if you can just get it, just ensure that there's an increase 4 to 5%.
In the Pell.
In the Pell.
Oh, yeah.
That's realistic to go from 7,800 to 13,000 something. It's probably not realistic.
AACC is like, we're just trying to hold on to where we're at on the Pell grant. And that would be bad for our students. All the prices keep going up.
Mhm.
The Pell grant hasn't kept up with that increase.
But
Inflationary.
I think we need the specific examples of how does that. It's not that we're supporting it because it's for community colleges in general, but to our legislators, we need to say, here's how we're impacted. Here's how your constituents are being impacted and will be impacted. So we need those sort of specific examples. The stories, stories of success, stories of lives changed. That's what moves, and how it affects particular constituencies.
Right, and that kind of is in the conversation. Are you trying to get this, so where Brad's gonna be putting this into our,
He's gonna put some pieces.
so he wouldn't
yeah,
be able
some
to share
pieces.
those stories?
We don't have room for stories, but we do have 2 students going with us to Washington to tell those stories.
If
So-
go in the advocacy document. But when you go talk to somebody,
We'll have everybody equipped with the examples and the stories
Mhm.
before we leave.
that's what's.
And we'll have some
That's what we
stories
need.
in the advocacy. Yeah, Brad has 4 testimonials in the advocacy document right now from all different parts of our college, so. Any other thoughts?
I'm on board.
I think on the MOEX, we have a MOEX sells another application going in. I think on December 11, if we're ready, it'd be nice to have. Here's the last 3 or 4 MOEX sells projects we've done. We put them on PowerPoint. And then and here's what is possible. And what we're proposing for the current budget to go in and share at least the basic outline of the proposal with the legislators so that they could be behind our MOEX cells.
Right now, we plan about an hour presentation to the legislators and an hour tour of the CAT, which has $5 million of MOEX sales money, equipment, so we'll have that talking point as part of that MOEX sales tour. As long as, in addition to the governor's transformational project funding. So. The MCCA talked about making MOEX sales a priority, but chose not to purposely. Of the community colleges in the state, there were only 5 that said they were gonna put in a MoExcel's proposal this year. And we're one of those 5. So Dr. Murders put together a proposal to fund a advanced manufacturing pathway in Jefferson City for that project. Most of the colleges said they're tapped out on match. And that's why MoExcel's in the state. Other community colleges shouldn't participate. The universities also said they're tapped out on match, but they're putting proposals in with 0 match. So that's their strategy for that. We have some match in our MoExcel's project, but it will be in-kind match from our partners in Jefferson City. So 3 or 4 options here. We'll work with how we can get this into the advocacy document. So,
Okay, all right, thank you.
oh, I
So
want
we-
to add something else, on board discussion. We have, we have a strategic plan update and, we're working through that process right now on the strategic plan, and we're going to be starting in January with some processes to kind of what's the word I'm looking for?
Featuring,
Envisioning. A SWOT analysis and kind of setting the stage where Darcy and Dr. Mers and I are meeting with someone who can help us with futuring. So we're looking for ways that we can make our planning efforts more transformational, preparing us for the future. And that's going to kick off in January. And we have 2 board members that are in that. Richard.
Just Richard.
Is it?
Yeah, because we're on the campus master plan.
And then we also have a campus master plan group, and that group met just before this board meeting. And we've received 11 proposals for the campus master plan, and that group will be evaluating those proposals, probably ask some firms to come in and present to us. Our goal is to have a firm selected in January. Is that right? January? Yeah, in January. So and the goal is to have that process completed by end of June. And so each of those firms have proposed some methodology to get there. So the way we get there will depend upon our preferences and the group we choose for that. And then I also, there is a subcommittee of the board that has looked at some board communication software and hardware. And Justin and Patty are on that group, and Mark's here, but board members, do you want to say anything about that?
I told Mark he had to speak.
We can do that. I just didn't want to preempt you. Do you want Mark to report out on that?
Yeah.
He's doing the hard work, that's for
Are
sure.
you good with that? Sure.
I did ask him already.
Good.
Yeah, so we decided that you're gonna get shiny new binders and all that.
Maybe tabs.
Only the best. So the software that looks like this, I think is the best. Is a system called Onboard. There's a couple of features in there that they give you a couple of choices on the subscription. Onboard for my purposes, my selfish purposes, and then really the system is for you guys, Lisa, to do your internal communications, all of your board packing. You don't have to do the paper anymore. You can attend meetings remotely. Those types of things, keep minutes. But the other part for me selfishly is that they also meet all the security requirements. Okay, really, really important. And not only do they meet all the security requirements, then when we were doing the demo, she anticipated what my questions were and answered all the questions right. So, which is really cool. That always impresses me. It's a great system. It's accessible via any PC that you have at home, web-based, all web-based, 100% web-based. All the storage is in the cloud. Everything that is associated with it is in the cloud, all SaaS-based. Here, the plan is that you'll be accessing the software via an iPad that will be in front of you in the board meeting that you can take it with you. I think that's what it is. You can also access that from home or anywhere you're at. On that iPad, you can attend meetings remotely if you need to. You can vote through the application. You can do all sorts of things. I have not seen the software functioning outside of the demo. I know that you all saw a little bit of it. Lisa, you saw some of it. It seems to have gone well. Pricing, I believe, I didn't bring that with me, is it 200? I think it's 200 a year. And then there's $1,000 implementation fee, I believe was on there. So
We have budget for that.
8320.
East Central College uses the software. Lisa met with her counterpart from East Central, and Lisa, thumbs up or thumbs down from that perspective.
That's all we need.
So it really has a process to build the agenda too. That's a collaborative process. The great thing about it, if we had it in place and like Lisa was in a hospital or something, she could build the agenda from her from her phone. And
And you don't have to worry about tabs.
yeah, that's right. That's right.
Sorry, Lisa, it looks like they're not letting you off.
What does she have to do?
When do you anticipate then this all kind of?
So if you guys
comes
want me to, so Lisa and I need to talk. I don't know who wants to say, give the green light to the company to go.
We took go ahead, Justin.
No.
You say what I was gonna say.
No.
I know what you're gonna say.
That would go right ahead.
Well, the committee's recommendation is this. So, unless we hear some.
Well, and I think it's a little background, like, you know, and I was just talking to Mark prior to the meeting about this, you know, some people see 8320 and they're like, holy cow. Couple reasons why we narrow it down to this software company is they had good references from East Central, but also they talked about the other 600 universities they work with across the United States. They're based out of Indiana, but I think they really understand the higher ed component of what we need from laws, regulations, policies, ease of use. We also have the single sign-on, which was a big deal to Mark. We don't need to expose ourselves to anything further going forward. So they kind of narrowed themselves down, in my opinion. I don't know how you feel about that, Patty, but I feel like the other two kind of eliminated themselves with some of their features and some of their support from an IT standpoint. The thing for me, looking at this component is as we transition from paper, it'll save us on the paper cost, but I think the biggest thing is the efficiency and workflow for Lisa, allowing it to just really collaborate and pull that efficiency. You know, we talked about AI earlier and where everything's headed. It does have that feature to be able to record minutes that way if we choose to do so. But more importantly is how do we just make this process more efficient throughout the entire, you know, college where we can just be better with our time and our efforts. So I think that's really where this aligns that component, the in-app messaging. So you know, Tim can make his own notes in there and only he could see them. I mean, there's just little features that could be really nuances for each individual board member. And that's kind of why I felt like this was the best option available.
Timeline wise, I think once we say go, there's gonna be some training involved, obviously.
That comes with the.
Yeah, both for Lisa and all of y'all, so.
Or so freedom.
Yeah. And then we'll also train you on how to access and use your iPad, make sure that you're all on the same page and same board.
So I think from the committee standpoint, unless Patty, that was, you need to get together and we're comfortable bringing it forward.
Okay.
Ultimately, if Lisa's comfortable.
Yes,
Lisa's good, we're all good.
that's right. Is that all you have? Yeah, I don't have anything else on my list. Do you have?
On the strategic planning, at some point, we probably need a work session where we will be visioning as a board of trustees as part of the input into the overall institutional strategic planning. That don't want to disconnect between what is being done between the board and what everybody else is thinking. And so I think by taking a work session just to do some visioning would be important. Also, I think we should note the visit we had with Dr. Boggs this week. The Commissioner of Education for the state of Missouri was on campus. That Patty, Amy, and I had the opportunity to, as trustees, plus Dr. Bates and Keith was there, and Allison was there, and Darcy was there,
And Brett.
and Brad. I mean, this, Red Dot Murders Review there? No. Okay. So we met and had a very good discussion with Dr. Boggs, and it was good that they have the Commissioner of Education on campus.
I was thinking back, I think it's the first commissioner that's been here since I've been here in two.
Wow.
So
I was curious about that. I didn't know if that was just kind of routine or.
Zora Mulligan had been here, but in another capacity before she was commissioner, so. I don't think there's been another commissioner here.
I appreciate that. That's really-
Yeah, it was just casual conversation, you know, good listener and get shared kind of highlights of what he was thinking. So, good. Thank you for bringing that up, Richard. Anybody else? Okay, well, it looks like we'll move on to the next agenda. Another item on the agenda, which is the next meeting. So our next meeting for the general session will be held Tuesday, December 17, 2024 at 5:30 here in the Hopkins Boardroom. If you remember, that's a date change that we did in July, on July 18th of 2024. Of course, it's Christmas time.
We
So
would like to meet earlier than 5:30, so meet at 5 o'clock. You think for pictures, Brad, do you think 5 o'clock is early enough? For the board picture? So let's plan on meeting at 5 o'clock at a location to be determined. Somewhere where we don't have a Christmas tree in the background, which may
So it
be
doesn't
hard.
look.
I was gonna ask that, is this Christmas attire or
It is not.
Santa hat?
So ugly sweaters.
You know, blue suit or
Yeah.
sports jacket and
Great.
Blue,
Maybe just one picture.
I have Santa or black.
No, just.
and blue or black dress clothes for women.
I might have to happen.
You,
It's blue or black.
you
I
should
guess.
judgment.
Alrighty. Well, so next on the agenda is, we will go into closed session. However, then after closed session, we will then adjourn out and then adjourn the meeting because there will be nothing after that. So, request for closed session, according to hiring, firing, disciplining, or promotion of personnel pursuant to RSMO section 610.0213.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Amy Bashir.
Yes.
Tim Carr.
Yes.
Justin Howard. Jeff Page.
Yes.
Richard Parker.
Yes.
And Patricia Wood.
Yes, we will request Dr. Murders, Steve, and Scott to stay for that closed session.
Stand for the penalty box.
Everybody have a nice Thanksgiving. Good news on, about the health program.